So we've got an action-packed episode lined up for you, but let's start with a health hack. In fact, one of the viewers of TBC requested, and let me tell you the handle as well, Navneetur Zoom is what he writes his handle as, requested a story on lower back pain, a topic I'm sure will resonate with so many of you and those around us as well.
So we thought, let's break down the story into the reasons, the causes, and also get you some actionable ideas from doctors, yoga experts to reverse the lower back pain that you deal with in the day-to-day. So tell us.
That's right. So the first thing you need to know about lower back pain is that it's extremely complicated and can be caused by multiple reasons. So let's break it down into the three most common reasons that lead to lower back pain. Number one, and perhaps the most common, is what is called a mechanical back pain. It stays, how you identify that is, it stays in the back and does not shoot down to your limbs. But the reasons for that are said to be bad posture, low vitamin D, low calcium, lack of exercise, and sometimes over-exercising as well. If this mechanical pain gets to an extreme case, then it leads to slip disc problem, it leads to osteoporosis and spondylosis as well.
Okay, the second most common back pain is, of course, sciatica back pain. So that's the one you've heard about often. It's the pain that shoots down to the limbs and it radiates. Now, what could the possible reasons be for that? There's disc prolapse, there's spondylosis, there's wear and tear that takes place, and you have the nerve irritation that can take place and it can be trapped. And this is something that affects young as well as old people. Also, there might even be more causes. So pelvic issues could cause the perception of back pain. It's taking place in your pelvis, but it feels as if it's coming from your back. Now, what are the reasons that could be leading to all of this? There's fibroids, there's pelvis inflammatory disease, there's of course urinary infection and stones that could be taking place lower down there, and there is abdominal and even pelvic tumors that might be the cause.
That's right. So we've told you a couple of reasons why back pain might happen. We've told you a couple of things that lead to it as well. So let's bring in our guest now, Dr. Sachin Bhosle, Senior Consultant, Ortho, Pediatric and Joint Replacement Surgeon from Fortis Hospital here in Mulund, joins us in the studio. Good morning, Doctor. Thank you so much for talking to us. I want to first start by asking you, there was a time when lower back pain was associated only with aging. बुढ़ापा आएगा तो बैक पेन होएगा, but it's changing now, right? Younger people are getting more and more back pains. Are you seeing that reflect in your OPD as well?
Yes, very much so. Nowadays, many young people, as young as 17, 20 years of age, students, people who go to office, work all day, are getting back pain. Why is that? Olden days, people used to be out, they used to get a lot of sunlight. Sunlight gives us vitamin D. That's the most important thing. I feel in young people, the major cause of low back pain is low vitamin D, because they are working indoors, they are studying all the time, they don't get sunlight. Number two, posture. Okay, one has to be mindful of correct posture. I have to correct my posture myself right now. But important posture at work, at home, while watching TV, everything, while driving, is so important that just correct your posture, you will perhaps not get back pain. Vitamin D, posture, then exercise. Lack of exercise as well as over exercise. Simple bending and lifting a weight can cause a mechanical back pain, but then it's very easy to treat that. You be mindful of your nutrition, you be mindful of what type of exercises you can do, what you enjoy, do it, maintain your posture, and you will be fine.
Doctor, I want to ask you, and we're coming in from the Delhi studio with this question for you. The tricky thing sometimes with back pain is that you can't tell if it's severe enough to see a spine doctor. Should you be getting an MRI, or should you just be applying Iodex sitting at home? What do you tell our audiences?
Yeah, that's quite simple actually, because everyone knows their own body as to which is a minor type of a niggle which is going to be okay in a day or so. A minor type of a back pain which doesn't shoot down to the leg. A pain shooting down to the leg we call sciatica or radiculopathy. You should never neglect that. But perhaps a low grade mechanical back pain, you can treat it with some liniment, some oil application, some heat application for a day or so. But something which is severe enough, say you are unable to bend, there is a lot of pain, you are required to take a painkiller, or pain is shooting down the leg, or you are getting tingling numbness, you must see your doctor. Never self-medicate. Painkillers are bad, they can damage your kidneys. However, a minor pain, you can perhaps wait for a day or two for it to get better.
But doc, this is the important bit, because a lot of times people I know live with lower back pain for really long durations. They feel it's a way of life, but you are telling us that it can change.
Yeah, that's right. See, living with a minor amount of back pain, I'll give you a good example. I would call it a sweet pain. You like to exercise, but you are 60 years of age. You will get aches and pain here and then once in a while, but you know your body. Okay, if you are able to say play your sports, if you are doing cycling or running and you are 60, you got little bit of a spondylosis, wear and tear in your back, it's okay to live with that. However, something which gets severe always need tests. We have to see, have you got osteoporosis, have you got spondylosis, and so on.
And doctor, if we could ask, I know we're talking about different kinds of pain, but in general, would you tell our audiences that if you have lower back pain, it is reversible?
Please repeat your question. I did not
She's
hear
trying to
it.
understand, is then lower back pain is reversible? Can you make lifestyle choices that will reverse the back pain?
Very much so. A mechanical back pain of minor reason like low vitamin D, improper exercise is reversible 100%. A back pain which is more severe, say somebody has got a slip disc and then there is a radiculopathy, pain is going down the leg, and these days we do a X-ray first, MRI scan first. If it shows a disc has popped out, is pinching the nerve root, we can simply put a small telescope, take out the disc. Modern medicine is such that there are remedies which can make you completely normal.
How you and I can beat the heat.
So what's the best approach towards diet this summer? Let's bring in the nutritionist Shikha Sharma with us right here.
Hi Shikha, good morning. Welcome to TBC. I first want to understand from you, as adults and when it comes to heat, the thing which is really important is hydration, is water. So how much water really, can you set the record straight for us, is enough for adults, and at what intervals as well?
I think that's the most critical question, as you said. So firstly, I'll explain what happens in a heat wave or what happens to the body physiologically. So in a heat condition, physiologically what happens is the body is trying to release the heat, because all the body processes, whether it's digestion or whether it is breathing or anything else, is generating a lot of heat inside the body. So all the blood vessels start dilating to release the heat through the blood, and that's why the skin becomes starts perspiring. There is dilation of vessels. The second thing which happens in a heat condition is that the body starts having a little bit of swelling also. That is very natural, because all tissues and everything starts expanding a little bit in the heat. Like if you notice that the ring which you wear, in summers it's tight and in winters it's slightly loose, and that's because the body, the tissues are expanding a little bit to release the heat possible. Now typically for this entire physiological process, water is the element which helps it to keep balancing out this heat in the body. And therefore hydration, as you asked, for adults at least you should have 10 glasses of water every day. And this is very critical, because without water the body's physiological processes stop working, and that's why 10 glasses of water are critical. If you are active, if you are out in the sun, then you may even need much more, which could be about 15 to 20 glasses of water, but 10 is a minimum.
And what intervals should we be having this water at through the day?
actually, yeah, you're right. You know, gulping down a bottle of water is not the right approach. So you should have like every morning when you get up, you should have 2 glasses of water on waking up, and then every like 2 hours you can have a glass of water. And if, of course, if you're in the sun, you can have it more frequently, but otherwise every hour or 2 hours, you know, you should hydrate yourself. And the best way is, after the early morning, 2 glasses of water, just keep a bottle of water on your table or near your bedside, wherever you're working, and finish that, and then see, you know, and then if it's another glass of another bottle of water you need, so that you reach your goal of 10 glasses of water.
That's a good tip there, Shikha. But tell us, is it a good idea to sort of switch water and also include ORS? Is that a good option?
So personally, even though as a medical doctor we were trained to you know, ask people to keep ORS with them all the time, but I also think that unless you are already dehydrated, ORS may not necessarily be required, because it has salt and sugar. And for blood pressure we don't advise salt, and for diabetes and for weight we don't advise sugar. So I would say use natural forms of hydration, like coconut water is there. Have a lot of watermelon in your diet. Have cucumbers, because cucumbers are actually water. Then similarly, even when you come back, have bale sharbat, have khas sharbat. You can have you know, things like chutneys, hari chutney, mint and dhania, celery. Celery juice is excellent for the kidney. So these natural, the advantage is that they don't put salt or sugar load on your body, because ORS is salt and sugar. So we reserve that for people who are already dehydrated, and then they need to be hydrated very quickly. But for regular use, I would say all these natural hydration methods are better.
Okay, Shikha, we've talked about liquids. Can we also talk about solids? What food should we have? What should we stay away from? Just tell us.
So first I'll begin with foods which you shouldn't have. So first thing is maida, suji and corn flour, and anything made from maida is very heating for the body. Wheat is one of the most heating grains available. So have grains which are cooling. Now according to the Vedic studies, the grains which are cooling are, for example, rice is very cooling. Then sattu, traditionally people in villages used to carry sattu in their little backpacks, because it's very, very cooling for the body. Similarly, if you see that ragi is also good for the body, it's also a good source of calcium. Quinoa is very good for the body. So all these, and of course in foods you have then chaach, you have buttermilk, you have curd, you have like I said, shikanji, then you have khas sharbat, you have cucumbers, hari chutneys. So all of them are very, very cooling for the body.
Right. So, Shikha, lastly, I want to understand, schools have now opened, right? And there is a lot of advice that goes around. But for mothers who are packing tiffins right now and filling up bottles, do you have any quick anecdotes for them?
Yes, certainly. The first thing is that kids are very vulnerable to heat stroke, because their bodies are not, I would say, as strong as an adult. So they quickly go into heat stroke and dehydration, and and so first I would say for mothers is hydrate them very well. So of course it's age dependent, but typically if adults need 8 to 10 glasses of water a day, the kid definitely needs 5 to 7 glasses of water a day, because kids run around a lot, and their ability to hydrate themselves, the body, the physiological processes are faster, but you have to give them in smaller amounts. So that is number one. Make sure that the kid is not being given sugary drinks. Sugar itself dehydrates the body. So all these carbonated beverages, all these beverages which have a lot of sugar, ice creams, I would say please be careful with ice creams, because majority of the ice creams, unless they are all natural, are actually based out of plant oils. They have a lot of chemicals and they have a lot of sugar. So they are extremely unhealthy for the kid. So if they have to eat ice cream, let it be a natural dairy ice cream. That also not every day, because sugar content goes up and sugar is heating for the body. Similarly, I would say the kids, all kids love noodles and pre-packed noodles and stuff like that. Please do control that in this season. Don't give them wheat and maida and noodles kind of stuff, or pasta and cheese and pizza, because they're very, very heating for the body. Instead, you can give them rice based foods, which could be idli, which could be dosa, Then again, the same sharbats which adults drink, even the kid can drink, and sweetened with dates or anjeer or stuff like that, which is more natural, like jaggery, rather than using white sugar. Then I would say that make sure the kid is not wearing very tight clothes. So loose flowing garments or loose shirt, loose things are always better for the
that's a good idea.
child. T-shirt, absorbing things like cotton. Make sure the kid is not wearing too much of polyester and stuff like that, because it doesn't have good absorption. So cottons are the best for the child. Secondly, it's also important that the child should have a cap or something, because when the kids play, if the head absorbs a lot of heat because of black hair. So it is important that the child should have a cap or something to cover the head while they are going out. And definitely they should keep drinking water, so their sip bottles should be always with them so that they can hydrate themselves regularly.
Okay, Shikha, thank you so much for bringing us all of those details. So that's how to take care of your stomach. But another very important factor this summer is obviously taking care of the largest organ, your skin, wearing sunblock. But Sonal, can you tell us, what do you know? What is PA, UVA, SPF? What do you think these things actually stand for?
Well, I don't think a lot of us understand what they stand for. We end up going to the supermarket or to the chemist and buying the one which has maximum coverage, right? But why don't we ask about this to an expert as well?
Yeah, even I don't have all the answers. I'm asking you that. But let's bring our next guest in. Dr. Dipali Bhardwaj is with us. She's a dermatologist.
Hi, good morning, Dr. Dipali. Welcome to the Breakfast Club. I quickly want to understand, all of us when we go to buy sunscreen, it looks something like this. It has something called an SPF, it has PA+++, it has UVA, UVB. Now there are too many things to really keep in account. So what should one be really looking at? If you're buying a sunscreen, what should the label really be saying?
Interestingly, Sonal, today the market is so much flooded with these kind of products, and these are all a gimmick as per a dermatologist like me to sell a product more costly. PA stands for protection factor. SPF we know is the sun protection factor. PA++ is just like a gradation system. Ideally for Indians, sunscreen has to be anything above SPF 26. And of course, if you are in snow and if you are in water, that means if you're in a swimming pool or a beach holiday, you need to reapply the sunscreen more number of times. And also, most important factor is that you always buy a cosmeceutical product, with which I mean a sunscreen which has the potency to block both UVA and UVB in this current scenario where there is pollution and greenhouse. So in short, a sunscreen which is from a company which is a cosmeceutical product, SPF 26, and the right quantity, which is a game changer on applying sunscreen, the right quantity of the sunscreen has to be applied.
Doctor, can you also tell us, is it entirely the same for men and women? When we're putting the cream, are there parts of our body that we need to be more careful of? Just bring us that context.
Yes, actually it's the same thing for both men and women. Of course, men are not that diligent and they generally just, gisso kind. They just go, splash on their face and they will not be so gentle, is what I have seen in my experience as a practicing doctor. But overall, their skin is also rough, so it doesn't really matter because of shaving and even for the body. But if they can be slightly gentler, is better. Talking about the quantity of sunscreen, like our finger has a instrument which is 3 boxes. So 1.5 fingertip unit, this is the right quantity of sunscreen application, which has to be applied 15 minutes before going in the sun. So if you buy a sunscreen worth 1000 or 200 rupees, it doesn't matter to me. How much quantity you are applying, if it is SPF 26 above, and it's a cosmeceutical product, with which we mean it has certain agents which will block all UVA, UVB and UVC and protect us against skin cancer, which is definitely on the rise.
Yeah, but doctor, tell us, what about kids then? Should we apply the same 1.5 sort of box formula even with the kids?
See, definitely even children today need a sunblock because of the pollution and the air and the waves. And but their sunscreen will be different. For them, I just like zinc bentonite, which is not at all a chemical, which is very nice. It's a skin soothing lotion which we use all the time, and so zinc bentonite can be applied for kids. And of course, above 12, they have to wear a sunscreen properly. But I'm talking about children, pedia group, from 5 to 12. Interestingly, AAD, which is like the world's global standard, American Academy of Dermatology, claims and states that sunscreen in children has to be started at the age of 3 years. But I have never advocated and advised any of my patients for that, because India still is luckily behind in the skin cancer race at a global level. But definitely zinc bentonite, or even our plain and simple aloe vera gel, is excellent for protecting kids against the harsh sun rays and the heat wave. So they can just apply that, and that should be enough.
And doctor, what about the reapply question? Sometimes you read that you should reapply it every 2 hours, every 4 hours. Does that even change based on the SPF? Like if one is getting a SPF 50, can they wait longer before reapplying it? How does that work?
Well, that's a great question, and honestly, these are gimmicks only to sell products more expensive. Any sunscreen SPF 26 above needs to be reapplied after every 3 hours.
We're now going to take you to a very special story. Women are, of course, celebrated always as daughters, mothers, caregivers. But also today, we know them as commandos. Women can be fully equipped with automatic weapons, bulletproof vests. They can carry out patrolling duties in armored vehicles. Women can conduct patrolling duties everywhere just to keep you safe, both in the house and even outside. And to bring you more about these women, let's take you to Jammu.
That's right, Jammu, where a small contingent of women personnel of the Special Operations Group has been deployed there ahead of Lok Sabha elections. They are specially trained counter-insurgency force in the Jammu and Kashmir Police, and it's just an 8-member team. And the contingent had undergone rigorous training for almost 3 months before being deployed on the ground as well. So, of course, we had to speak to them.
Take a look. This is a ground report we've brought you. We'll also be speaking with the DSP. This is DSP Priyanka Kumari. She's the woman who gave them that training.
Power, passion and patriotism. This is an 8-member women's squad carrying out patrolling duties in the Jammu and Kashmir Valley. Fully equipped with automatic weapons and bulletproof vests, this small contingent of women personnel can be seen in an armored vehicle conducting searches in different parts of Jammu.
इन महिलाओं को हमने देखा है कि किस तरीके से ये महिलाएं अब आतंक का सफाया करेंगी। एंटी टेरर ऑपरेशन जो कि जम्मू कश्मीर में चलते रहते हैं, हालांकि अब इस वक्त जम्मू के राजौरी और पुंछ में बहुत तादाद में आतंक जो है वो बुरी तरह से फैला हुआ है और आए दिन वहां पर सर्च ऑपरेशन चलाया जाता है। लेकिन इन एंटी टेरर ऑपरेशंस में अब महिलाएं भी जो है अत्याधुनिक हथियारों से लैस अब जंगलों में दिखेंगी।
With nothing but sheer resilience, these women forces are on ground equipped with modern weapons to tackle terrorists. They have undergone rigorous training for 3 months before being deployed.
हमने एक ऑल वुमेन पुलिस कंपोनेंट तैयार किया है जिसको हम पिछले 3 महीने से लगातार ट्रेन कर रहे हैं और मैं ये भी बताता चलूँ कि ये अपने आप में एक महिला सशक्तिकरण का एक लाइव उदाहरण भी है और इन वुमेन टीम को हम ऑल वुमेन पुलिस कंपोनेंट टीम को हम अभी फील्ड में भी उतार रहे हैं जो अपनी डिफरेंट तरह की ड्यूटीज़ जो हैं अंजाम दे रही हैं जिसके अंदर रैंडम MVCPs जो हैं उसको चेक किया जा रहा है, स्वीपिंग एक्सरसाइज इन द एरियाज़ उन सबको उसको ट्रेन किया जा रहा है। अलॉन्ग विद दैट हम उनको फायरिंग प्रैक्टिसेस भी करवा रहे हैं।
Since the 1990s, several police personnel have sacrificed their lives for the nation. Leaving behind their young children at home, these women commandos pick up the armor with fire in the eyes to take on the terrorists.
न्यूज़ 18 पे आपने देखा किस तरीके से अब अपने कंधों पे अत्याधुनिक हथियारों के साथ ये करेंगी आतंक का सफाया। वीडियो जर्नलिस्ट राजीव के साथ कोमल सिंह, न्यूज़ 18 इंडिया।
All right, what a passionate coverage over there. But let's also try and understand a little what these women are doing a little bit in detail. Joining us is DSP Priyanka Kumari. She is the trainer for this entire contingent. नमस्कार मैडम, हमसे बात करने के लिए बहुत बहुत शुक्रिया. पहले तो हमें बताएं कि ये काफ़ी तगड़ी इनकी 3 महीने की ट्रेनिंग हुई और काफ़ी आपको कठिनाइयों का सामना भी करना पड़ा होगा. जम्मू के अंदर हम देख रहे थे कैसे बहुत थिक है फॉरेस्ट, उसके बीच में से महिलाएं निकल के अपनी पूरी पूरा अपना उनका जो करना होता है, आगे पीछे देखना होता है, और ट्रेनिंग कर रही थी. तो कैसे करी आपने ये ट्रेनिंग?
ये जो हमारी वुमेन कमांडोज जो कि हमारी यहाँ पे आई हैं, ऑफ कोर्स इनकी एक रेगुलर ट्रेनिंग की जाती है. इसके अलावा जो है इनको टाइमली जो है स्पेशल फोर्सेस के साथ जो है डिप्लॉय करके जो है स्पेशल ट्रेनिंग दी जाती है, सो दैट कि ये जो हमारी एंटी मिलिटेंसी ऑपरेशंस जो हम करते हैं, काउंटर टेररिस्ट ऑपरेशंस जो करते हैं, उसके साथ प्रॉपर तरीके से जो है इक्विप्ड हो जाएं, उसके इन्वायरमेंट के साथ जो है अपने आप को पूरा उसको ढाल पाएँ, और टाइमली और रेगुलरली जो है इनकी प्रॉपर ट्रेनिंग्स और फायर प्रैक्टिसेस भी करवाए जाते हैं.
मैम, आप हमें ये भी बता सकते हैं, जम्मू और कश्मीर की ये जो पूरी रीजन है इसमें जंगल बहुत है मैम, जंगल में कौन कौन सी चैलेंजेस मिलती हैं, आप हमें बता सकते हैं?
लाइक अगर हम एज अ प्रोफेशनल ट्रेनिंग की बात करेंगे तो इनको जो ट्रेनिंग हम देते हैं वो ऑल काइंड ऑफ टेरेन के साथ जो है दी जाती है. ऐसा नहीं है कि जंगल में ही, इवन माउंटेन्स में, या कि हम अगर हम बात करें तो अर्बन जो सेंटर्स की बात करें तो इनको हर तरीके की ट्रेनिंग दी जाती है, सो दैट कि इन ऑल सिचुएशंस जो है ये उसमें वर्कआउट कर पाएँ. और अगर स्पेसिफिकली हम फॉरेस्ट एरियाज़ की बात करेंगे या फिर यहाँ के जम्मू कश्मीर के टेरेन के बारे में हम बात करेंगे तो ऑफ कोर्स इनको जो है स्पेशलाइज जो है ट्रेनिंग दी गई है, और इस सारे जो मतलब टफ़ सिचुएशंस में जो है सिचुएशंस में इन सब लोगों को जो है एक दूसरे का सपोर्ट करना और कैसे उस सिचुएशन को ओवरकम करना है, कैसे एक दूसरे के साथ रहना है, एज ए बडी पेयर इनको जो है सारी ट्रेनिंग दी जाती है.
जी, काफ़ी टफ सिचुएशंस तो हैं, पर प्रियंका जी हमें ज़रा बताइए कि आपस में उत्साह रखने के लिए महिलाएं क्या करती हैं? हमने जैसे बताया अपनी ओपनिंग में भी कि महिलाएं ये मदर्स हैं, वाइव्स हैं, डॉटर्स हैं, तो आपस में डायनामिक्स कैसा रहता है इतनी टफ ट्रेनिंग के समय?
जब हम एज ए टीम वर्क की बात करते हैं, ऑफ कोर्स टीम वर्क में जो है आपको पता ही होगा कि सारे जो है एज ए टीम की तरह वर्क करते हैं, और स्पेशली जब हम काउंटर टेररिस्ट ऑपरेशन की बात करते हैं या फिर जो है एंटी मिलिटेंसी ऑपरेशंस की बात करते हैं, तो सारे जो हमारी जो टीम होती है वो साथ में मिलकर काम करती है और एक दूसरे को सपोर्ट करती है. हम दो के ग्रुप्स में जो है मूव करते हैं और समटाइम्स जो है एक दूसरे के साथ कम्युनिकेशन करने के लिए, तो इस तरीके का जो है एक दूसरे का सपोर्ट करने का और एक दूसरे के साथ लाइजन रखने का जो है इनको सारा जो है चीज़ें जो है बताई गई हैं, और उसके साथ ये प्रॉपर तरीके से वर्कआउट भी करते हैं.
मैम, ये जो कमांडोज हैं मैम, ये इंस्पायर्ड कैसे रहती हैं? कोई कहावत है, कोई कहानी है जो आप एक दूसरे को बताते हैं?
देखो, एज ए वुमेन की अगर हम बात करेंगे तो वुमेन जितनी भी अपनी फील्ड से इस मुकाम तक पहुंची होती है वो कहीं ना कहीं से इंस्पायर्ड होकर के ही इस मुकाम तक पहुंची होती है. और आपको पता होगा कि सारी वुमेन्स जो है उनकी एक डिफरेंट स्टोरीज़ होती हैं. हर एक वुमेन जो है अपने फील्ड में एक्सपर्टाइज जो पहुंची है वो किसी न किसी स्ट्रगल को, अपने टफ टाइम को ओवरकम करके पहुंची है, और अपने इवन फैमिली सिस्टम को वो सपोर्ट करके अपनी फैमिलीज़ को भी वो साथ में जो है उनको संभाल रही हैं. और इन केस ऑफ हम बेड फोर्स की बात करें तो टफ ड्यूटीज़ में भी जो है वो काम कर रही हैं. तो मुझे ऐसे लगता है कि इन सब लोगों की जो है अपनी जो है स्टोरीज़ हैं, और अपनी स्टोरीज़ जो है एक दूसरे के साथ शेयर करती हैं, और उससे जो है दूसरी वुमेन्स को भी इंस्पिरेशंस मिलती है. बट ऑब्वियसली जब कोई भी वुमेन यूनिफॉर्म में जो है बाहर निकलती है तो आपने देखा होगा कि बहुत सारे बच्चे या बहुत सारी जो छोटे गर्ल्स हैं उनको देख करके काफ़ी ज़्यादा इंस्पायर्ड होती हैं. तो इन सब लोगों की अपनी स्टोरीज़ हैं तो जो कि सबको इंस्पायर्ड करती हैं.
All right, now for a lot of people who don't know Shantanu, he's what we call an art fluencer. But Shantanu, tell us, how big is this demand for tattooing? You obviously wear it all over. I don't even want to ask how many you have right now. But take us through what are the different kinds of tattoo demands that come to you? And do you know any really fun, intense briefs that you must have got on what kind of tattoo it should be?
Hi guys. First of all, a very good morning to everyone. I think it has to be the earliest interview I've ever done. So thank you for that. And when it comes to tattoos, see, I've always loved tattoos. Like ever since I was growing up, I've always seen like my seniors get tattoos and get hand poke tattoos and all. And we as kids, as teenagers, we used to take like needles and poke fabric ink into our skin, which is very unsafe and bad. So I think it was just the old teenage me trying to experiment tattooing stuff and all. And when it comes to weird tattoo requests, like
Big disclaimer, please do not try this at home. Big
no, don't try
disclaimer.
this at home. This is
At
the
all.
worst thing you can do to your skin. And you'll end up paying more to cover it up. So yeah, it's not a viable thing to do. But I think you had asked me about weird tattoo requests. So, I mean, I customize sort of tattoos for my friend, like who does all my tattoos. So there's always sessions where I come in and I customize a tattoo, I design a tattoo. I don't do it myself because I lack the practice. But I think some of the weirdest requests I've got is not the kind of tattoos, but where the tattoo is gonna be placed. So that's the weirdest thing, like that you people come up with. Like I have friends who have like eyelids tattoos. They have like tattoos over here. They have tattoos in like a lot of different parts of their body. So I think it becomes a tricky thing. And most of the weird tattoos are actually their current girlfriend's names, which I always recommend that you'll end up lasering it out. So twice the money for the tattoo artist. But I think these are the weirdest requests I ever get. And also, there are people who actually don't know what they want. That's the worst kind of a situation because they'll come up with really like outdated tattoo templates, like, and they'll be like, "Oh, I want this," and that's the worst time for you to design something. Where when you have indecisive clients, like giving you feedback on tattoos which they think they are cool.
Noted.
Can we ask you, Santanu, choose not to answer all of this because you have several tattoos of your own. And are you comfortable sharing? Because sometimes tattoos are very personal for people, but are you comfortable sharing what maybe one or two of them mean for you when you got them in your life?
Yeah, sure. So me and my friend, like my tattoo artist friend, we started our career together in our bedrooms. So we were first bedroom artists. So when he first started his practice, I made my first design and he made his first tattoo. So ever since we come across a different milestone in our life, I get myself inked with something which is significant of that time.
How old were you in
So
the first tattoo?
I was in school, I think, class 12. And so, for example, my most recent one is this is what I've got done. This is like my favorite band, Slipknot, and it's the frontman over here. There are like elements from things that I am inspired by, that is like anime and stuff like that. So there's like Kurama from Naruto inked here. Then there is a Dragon Ball hidden there. So it's mostly all the things that I grew up watching or my art is inspired by that I try to ink on my body. Like, for example, here I have my pet cat, Clara, who's sort of designed as a demon because she kind of controls my life. And then there is here I have an old tattoo of Salvador Dali because I'm like a really big fan of his work and the whole surreal movement and a bunch of other stuff like this. And there's a pagan goddess of hunt, which is also associated with the goddess Venus. So there are always different kind of tattoos that I work around with, and it's mostly inspired from personal experiences, visuals that I am inspired by, be it Japanese anime, be it like music that I listen to, and the kind of mind space I'm in also matters a lot. I think, because I mean, and that's the commitment. Like tattoos are a commitment.
Yeah.
Like it's something that
it is something that you have to live with for a really long time, or go back to an artist and pay a lot of more money to sort of retrace that. We've seen that happen to a lot of celebrities as well. But Shantanu, you wear, like anybody who has a tattoo, especially like yours, you wear your heart with the ink on your hand, on your sleeve, quite literally, right? I don't want to get into, it's a breakfast show, so I don't want to get into weird places where people get it done from. This is still morning time, let's just remember that. But tell me, have you ever regretted a tattoo, and what do you do about that then?
Oh yes, I do have many regrets. Like not just one. Okay, I'll talk about the one I got when I was in my first year engineering. It was my birthday, and we had one guy who used to do hand poke tattoo, like I said, like with ink and needles and stuff. So this was a college hostel thing. So as a birthday gift, here after my birthday party, there's like, okay, I'm gonna gift you a tattoo. I'm like, yeah, sure, come on, go ahead, let's do it. So I have this weird tattoo here, which is like a thorn. I said, okay, I wanna thorn, a thorned out S. That's my initial with a little screw in the center.
Okay.
I was a little bit of a grunge thing, and then to my surprise, for many days, I kept looking at the tattoo at the mirror, and the S was straight. Then it hit me, okay, this must be an inverted S because
Oh God.
it can't be straight when I'm looking at the mirror for the longest time.
TBC team visited the Gyanshri Training Center, and this is what we found.
Hello, we're here not at an empty restaurant. We're actually at this very cool initiative started within a school in Noida. This is the Gyanshri School, and this is the Skill Training Academy. Right here, those who have lesser access are trained in a variety of skills. It's a whole world of different behind-the-scenes skills, front-of-the-scenes skills that will equip them better for facing the world. And they even leave with an employment opportunity in hand. This is the Skill Academy, built on the premises of the Gyanshri School in Noida. In partnership with Haldiram's, the largest portion of the academy is devoted to imparting culinary skills to those who are lesser privileged. So everything from all the intricacies involved in making delicious barfi to the A to Z's involved in running your own restaurant business successfully. The current batch is about 40 students large. The culinary course has 4 parts: the basics in Indian dessert making, behind the scenes business management, street food from across the world, and the science of baking. We asked a young student what she'd learnt in the class.
ऐसे करके फिर इसके ऐसे करके फिर इसको ऐसे ऐसे 3 नॉट
काफी इंटरेस्टिंग है पूरा ये जो टर्न करके बनाते हैं.
आपने अपने रेस्टोरेंट के लिए 10 तरीके के अलग-अलग प्रोडक्ट.
But how did this idea come to life, and what was the thinking behind this? Tell us a little bit more. To understand that, we spoke to Kashyapi Puri, the program's coordinator. The program itself is about a year old. Can you tell us a little bit more about the ideas that went behind creating this?
So it was our chairman's, the founder of Haldiram Corporate. So it was his idea that we should do something more concrete and more, empowering the youth kind of a things, because they are one of the largest employers. So when the Pradhan Mantri Yojana was launched, Gyanshri being a part of us, automatically we got enrolled with the skill development movement. And since they employed, the first and the foremost program we thought was the multi-cuisine cook. You know? And then by and by, when we started mobilizing, we realized that children have other interests also. And these are the underprivileged youth, basically the ones who have not completed their education for some reason or the other. So then we started going towards that field, that what is their area, what is their vision for themselves. And that's how we got into it.
In terms of the future for the students of this Skill Academy, they absolutely brimming with new, young ideas for what their next step can look like. बताइए प्लान्स क्या हैं आप सबके? आपको पता है कि अच्छा ये वाली चीज़ जैसे पिछले 3 महीनों में ये चीज़ अच्छी लगी बनाने में, यही चीज़ पे फोकस करना है आगे, ऐसा कुछ सोचा है? बताइए।
मैम मैं फर्स्ट ईयर सेकेंड ईयर मतलब पहले खुद सीखूंगी, एक्सपीरियंस लूँगी, देन मैं फूड वैन खोलूँगी, वहाँ पे चाइनीज़ आइटम होगा। मैं जहाँ से बिलोंग करती हूँ वहाँ के भी कुछ आइटम्स मैं डालूँगी।
कहाँ से belong?
उड़ीसा से।
ओह वाओ, सो मिक्स करेंगे थोड़ा
Yes.
सा उड़ीसा का ट्विस्ट
Yes,
चाइनीज़ फूड पे। It's this sense of empowerment, this spark of creativity that the Skill Academy is imbuing its young adults with. That's hopefully all they're going to need to build a successful career for themselves outside in the world.
Lovely, isn't it? But how does one set up something like this, especially if you run a company and want to impart skills as well? So we've got our next guest on TBC this morning. We're joined by Rita Kapoor, who is the Director of CSR Initiatives at Haldiram's, to understand this in a little bit more detail. Good morning, ma'am. Thanks so much for joining us. And firstly, congratulations for everything that you guys are doing. Start by telling us a little bit about how did this idea really come about? We heard there the founder, of course, came up with the idea that we must do something for the underprivileged, but must have been a huge setup.
This is Haldiram CSR program, community service program. It's one of the programs actually. So we are doing a lot of CSR programs, but this particular one came into being rather than when you're talking about the seed, it was during COVID time. We saw the suffering and we saw the people losing the jobs and the pain and the misery. So we thought that the best idea is to get jobs for the family members.
Let me go to him with our first question जी। हर्षित जी हमारे साथ जुड़ने के लिए धन्यवाद आज सुबह। हर्षित जी आप कितने महीनों के लिए हल्दीराम पे अभी काम कर रहे हैं? ट्रेनिंग के बाद आपका यहाँ पे कितना समय हो चुका है सर?
यस मैम मैं 3 महीने से जॉब कर रहा हूँ। और जो हमारा स्टाफ है बहुत अच्छा है और बातचीत में भी, और हमारे कुछ शेफ़ हैं जो हमें अच्छे तरीके से सिखाते हैं। अभी मैं ट्रेनी के तौर पे जॉब कर रहा हूँ और अभी मैंने चाइनीज़ काउंटर, साउथ इंडियन काउंटर और भटूरा काउंटर सीख लिया है और अभी तंदूर काउंटर सीखने पे तंदूर पर ट्रेनिंग चल रही है अभी मेरी। हमारे वैसे अच्छा एक्सपीरियंस है यहाँ पे। मेरी 2:30 बजे से शिफ्ट लगती है मैम। आते हैं, आने के बाद स्टाफ से पहले नमस्कार करते हैं, हैंड वॉश करते हैं, हैंड वॉश करने के बाद अपना सेशन देखते हैं, सेशन सेटअप करते हैं।
What do you do when you're really mad in life? Some people go for a run, some go for a swim, some call up their best friend, but some do this. Feeling red with rage? There is now a room for you. It's simply called the Rage Room. All you have to do is gear up and smash the stress to your heart's content. You can unleash your inner Hulk and smash almost anything to bits. Beer bottles, glasses, mugs, bowls, tube lights and even TV. Basically everything except human beings, of course. Yada! How did you enjoy this?
That was a really fun experience. My girlfriend's rage was clearly a very good thing to watch, and I now know what I shouldn't do.
How did it feel?
Amazing. Nothing better than a week of frustration coming out like this.
You're sweating all over. What were you thinking when you were smashing it?
Toughest problems. No better therapy than this.
What were you thinking when you were smashing?
एग्ज़ाम आ रहे तो फ्रस्ट्रेशन था, वो निकाला था तो आ गया, मज़ा आ गया, फ्रस्ट्रेशन सारा निकल गया। enjoying a lot.
Sydney is the manager of the Rage Room. So Sumesh, firstly tell me what kind of people come here generally?
So all sort of people come here. Basically, some come here for fun. Some come here, after breakup to remove their frustration, vent out their anger.
Yeah.
Yes. Some come here with family. Some come here with their colleagues. So for fun and just try out something new.
To take out the work stress.
Yes,
हाँ,
obviously.
बॉस से भरे बैठे रेंज रूम चलते हैं. But do men come more than women, or how does it work?
Yes, so basically I was surprised to see that 80% of our customers are women and 20%
wow. Wow, 80% are women.
Yes.
That's something to think about. But you were telling me there are birthday parties also that get organized here?
Oh yes, so on our website we have an option of birthday decoration. You just have to pay extra 500 rupees and we'll make your birthday special.
Right, so it will be quite a raging birthday then, yeah, right?
Yes.
The experience at the Rage Room is simple yet exhilarating. You can smash and scream all you like, but remember, it will not solve your underlying issues. If you want a healthy, happy life, so guys, go watch The Breakfast Club. It's known to bring a smile to your face. For now, with camera person Manas and Kalpesh, this is Sonal Mehrotra Kapoor, signing off. Tell us, what made you think of the Rage Room?
So the concept came about from my journey in mental health. In the last 5 years, especially in IIT Madras, I was working on a suicide prevention platform that did not work out due to pandemic. But then I was in the field, taking care of the latest updates and things like that. And one fine night, it just came to me, and I decided to see that to make it happen because people needed it. A lot of people in the online forums on Twitter, on Reddit were saying that they want a place in Bangalore. So I decided to do it more as an experiment. And when I realized the relief typified by the kind of fun experience they were having, I decided to take it pan India. So it's in Mumbai and we are opening in Delhi next month.
Nice.
Can we take a little bit of a deep dive into you? How did an IITian end up making the Rage Room concept here in India?
No, definitely not. So I did not study engineering, I studied science.
Okay.
And I went into digital marketing field because that was my passion. I love the idea of making people see things, to the idea of creating craft with words. And so I was in the marketing field for a long time, and this was more of a natural progression in my career.
Right. But Ananya, tell us, very interesting insight came out of that experience. We got to know that there are more women than men who actually visit these outlets. Do you have an insight into why that happens?
So there are two reasons. One is women are separated a lot. You are expected to behave in a certain way in front of everyone. You are expected to be polite, to show your emotions again. But then there is a lot more pressure and more pain because of our hormonal cycles. So we have a lot of pent-up rage within that we don't really let out.
That's true.
And this is a safe, no judgment zone. And I think men find it comfortable to just let it all out.
सुरेश जी नमस्कार. बात करने के लिए बहुत बहुत शुक्रिया हमसे ब्रेकफास्ट क्लब पर. I want to understand, did you find the Ghatam or did the Ghatam find you? What is the story here?
Hello everyone. I started learning percussion at the age of 6. I was inspired by the great Vikku Vinayakram, where I was attending his concert as a toddler along with my parents. And my grandfather took me to Vikkuji's father to initiate me into percussion because I was more attracted to the Ghatam. And right at the age of 8, I was initiated to Ghatam by the doyen of Ghatam himself, Vikku Vinayakramji. Then I had a long journey of learning from another doyen, Dr. T.V. Gopalakrishnan, who is the living legend. And also, I was inspired by many percussion players all through my career. So Ghatam I chose because of the unique tonality and the special stature it has in the field.
How nice.
Artists tend to be very possessive about their instrument. They're very careful of it. Are you too?
I am. In fact, my family members would say it's the Ghatam that is closest to me than themselves. I am very meticulous about my Ghatam, and it's very fragile. We have special boxes made for carrying them, when you put it in the cargo in the flights. Yeah. And even in my music room, nobody is allowed who cannot be seriously handling the instrument. So we're limited entry. I will be personally taking care of all the Ghatams, and some of them are even 70 to 80 years old because I got it from my teacher's family who have been maintaining it for so long. So these are all very precious and invaluable Ghatams. So they are very closest to my heart.
And handled with care, definitely. But so Rishi, tell us, you must have performed world over, of course, but can you share some fond memories, something that really stayed with your heart?
There are some occasions where I have, found my Ghatam broken into pieces when I landed in some places like in China in 1986. So I could not find an alternative to play on. I went with Dr. S. Balachandar in 1986. So the host took me to a common clay pot shop where the terracotta pots were made, and I had to select one that matched the key of Dr. S. Balachandar, and I found a couple of them which actually traveled with me for the entire tour. And at the end of the tour, I could not part with them, but the host wanted me to give them as a souvenir. Touching was there. So emotional were they attached to the instrument actually. So that was one unique experience. And another one was when all of a sudden Dr. Paul Simon, Sir Paul Simon invited me along with Sri Guru Karaikudi Mani, the phenomenal Mridangam legend. When we were in United States, he invited us to his Manhattan studio and asked us to record for his album So Beautiful or So What. This was about a decade back. So that was a pleasant experience, and to meet Paul Simon itself was a great experience. And then he asked us to play for his album, and that became a talk of the season that time. Ghatam was there in a pop album that could be talked about worldwide.
Wow.
So tell us, the Bol Bani or the Sol Kattu style is what you love to teach. How does this style tie in with the kind of music you see world over, with musicians world over?
Takkita takadin din ta tam, tatakita takadin din ta dim, tarikita takadin din ta tam, tading ginatum, tading ginatum, tading ginatum, tading ginatum, tading ginatum, tading ginatum ta. This is the language of percussion. That is one of the three basic elements of percussion. You have the tala system as the first element, the language of rhythm as a second element, and the percussion instruments on which the language of rhythm that is applied. So the Solkattu forms the basis of whatever instrument you play around. The Solkattu is the language which is interpreted on an instrument. So if someone cannot play on a percussion instrument, because it takes long years to master a percussion instrument, to become an expert and to play in a concert. But if you're already a drummer, if you're a saxophone player, if you're a pianist, if you're a bass player, you can still learn Konakol and apply the same in their own music. They can compose music based on this Konakol patterns. For example, ta, ting, gin, na, tum, takita, 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 ta, ting, gin, na, tum, takadina, 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 ta. If I just give these two statements to him and ask him to improvise, so he can first learn this and apply it on his instrument, and then try to improvise with his own imagination. So this is how the initiation takes place, and Konakol and the Solkattu, which is the format, and Konakol is the performing performing percussion of the sulkatu. So this is how the Indian percussion can easily reach the Western audience and Western musicians.
Wow. Wow, that's just amazing, Sureshji. You've given us a little glimpse. We can't let you go without, of course, giving us a little more. Would love to have a short demonstration, please.
Okay, I will do that with a special note today because this is election time in India, and I'm keenly following everything happening around me, not staying just as a musician. So I have a few statements to make which can be, musically interpreted. Nationalism is my way, or nationalism is the way. Separatists stay away. I'll play that. Nationalism is our way. Separatists stay away. And then, no corruption, no drugs. No corruption, no drugs. And then, common man's grief is important. Common man's grief to go. Common man's grief to go. Common man's grief to go. Ta tadim ta tadim tadim. Ta kita ta kita dina tadim tadim ta. Tadim ke tadim ke tadim ke din ta. Din tra kita 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 tam. Tadim ke din ta tadim ke din ta. Dum 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 to ta. Tadim ke tam tam tam. Din ta ta ke din din ta ta ke din ta ta ke din din ta.